Like, would you choose, doctors who provide you with options other than chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery for any of these serious diseases if you had the choice to do so? Because right now, Americans have to go to Mexico, the Bahamas, to Thailand, to Costa Rica, just to get other care that the FDA will not allow. Because why? This isn't an argument whether it works or it doesn't, Michael. This is about the freedom to choose healing paths that may be different and distinct from that which the government pharmaceutical industrial complex has mandated and then basically banned everything else. Like I said, who hates competition worse than government? I don't know anybody. Government is the big dominator on competition, the competition to use force, the competition to use fraud. No, that's what they do all the time. If anybody else tries to do that, of course, rightfully, they should be taken out of the so-called equation.
Right.
But the free market, that's different. That's not what we've seen in so many decades in America. So when the leftists, the liberals claim that it was freedom that has done us in, they are wrong. They are so wrong because it isn't freedom. It's corporatism. It's corporate welfare that has done us in. It's the lack of freedom. It's monopolies. It's mandates from government that have done us in. And you don't think with all the innovation in the 20th century we could have other options for energy as well? Again, this is an oil monopoly as well. There isn't a free market for energy. And if there were, innovation in America would certainly eventually trump the need for so-called oil as the oil-based economy. But we've had a monopoly, and government has sanctioned and defended that monopoly. So when they're blaming the corporations, they should be looking in the mirror. They're the ones doing it. And so, I talk about the freedom to heal, and I know I rail on the FDA, and deservedly so, but they're not the real problem.
Well, explain what you mean by that.
We are.
Why?
We are the real problem. How could a freedom-loving people, for goodness sake, it's almost Independence Day, how could we put up with an overreaching bureaucratic oligarchy that operates under color of law, mandating what we must do while prohibiting everything else, particularly that which is natural, in the care of our bodies, mind, and spirit, much less our economic health? And as we're about to celebrate the July 4th, I hardly feel like celebrating the loss of liberty for which most Americans still seem content. Although those in the Tea Party movement that are being berated by the left and even some in the Republican Party, certainly, we feel what they're going through. This is what we want to have happen, is the awareness be, rise up to where we can actually acknowledge the real source, the real cause of our problems, so we can correct it, not just paper it over, not just Band-Aid it over, or not just drug and medicate all of America under Obamacare so they don't know what's going on. So this Independence Day, Michael, I would urge all of us out here, and especially the Savage Nation audience, let's tell a neighbor, don't be a sheeple, don't be a chicken. You were born to be free, and it's time to start living as though you are, instead of scratching around in the dirt like other chickens or being corralled with the other sheeple just awaiting feeding time or being corralled into slaughter.
Sure.
So what happens when Obama, Pelosi, Reid, and the rest of the government vampires and leeches can no longer steal from you, your neighbor, your child, your grandchildren to feed somebody else, or whether it be to feed you? What are you going to do then?
Well, thanks for the report, Robert. Where can we read more?
Thanks again, Michael, for having me on. For those who love liberty, please check out my website at robertscottbell.com. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Independence Day and really endorses and embraces the freedom that our founders bestowed to us if we were be willing to defend it.
Savage.